What's up, guys? It's Dan from Coin Bureau Trading, tuning in live from the Coin Bureau studio with Gabbie, also from Coin Bureau Trading, celebrating 100,000 subscribers that literally happened a couple hours ago. How's it going, Gabbie?
Oh, it's going great. I'm so happy we reached 100K and so fast as well, right?
Yeah, it's literally, for those of you who don't know or who haven't been keeping up, I think it's literally been a year. Like we started doing videos, like the Coin Bureau Trading channel has been around for a while, and it got up to like 26 or 27,000 subscribers. And then over the last year, from October to this October, I came on as host of the Coin Bureau Trading channel literally 3 days ago, 1 year ago. Yeah. So it's like almost 1 year to the day, and we're at 100,000. So it's looking good. Yeah.
Oh man, I think I joined. When did I join? Like a few months ago, 4 months ago.
Yeah. Maybe like 6 months ago, something like that. Yeah. But yeah, guys, if you are tuning in and help us get noticed, get around, smash that like button. If you're not already subscribed, come on, we got to get that to 1,100.
Let's go.
I want 200,000 subscribers by the end of the stream. Okay, we're gonna go as long as it takes.
All right, come on now. At least 200.
At least 200. Yeah, guys. Like the stream, share the stream, drop some comments. We're gonna be going through a whole bunch of charts and stuff. And we were actually speaking together before the stream, and Gabbie's like, "So how do you want to do this?" I'm like, to be honest, I don't really know, but I personally like Gabbie's style. Those of you who follow my videos will know that I'm really big into the macro, and I like that Gabbie always opens up like with her macro stuff. So actually, not to put you on the spot, Gabbie, but do you think you could tell us what do you think we need to be paying attention to today in terms of the macro, like government shutdown? You said there was potentially some economic data coming out. What are you watching? Is there anything you're watching today?
The thing is, we're not watching for much in terms of economic data because the government is shut down, just like we speak like every day on the live streams and everything. But, usually we were about to get the unemployment claims today, which are very important, obviously. But how important are they really, though? I mean, we're almost 96% if you go on the Fed Watch tool, almost to 97% chance of another rate cut this year, and we just had the minutes from the first rate cut in like was it on Wednesday or something? Yeah, so over there it was clear that we had 19 feds that were being pro for another rate cut, and then we had around 7 or 5 that were just opposed. So it's pretty much a done deal at this point, in my opinion. So that's pretty good. It seems like we're gonna have a really good Q2. So I'm very looking forward to that. Q4. Sorry.
Good one. Living in Q2, eh? Like Jesus. Most people are like, no, it's not Q2. Please, not
that's
Q2.
The thing. When I'm live streaming, sometimes I say stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, why did it say that? But anyway,
but I actually want to quickly share one thing on the screen here. So as a fun fact, as it relates to the government shutdown, I think this is some information to keep in the back of everyone's mind, is that predictions markets, I mean, this is a few days old, so it's probably changed.
I think you have to like share your screen.
Oh, I am is it sharing there? Yeah? No, it's not. Oh, interesting. Okay, one second. Let me try again here. Technical difficulties. It's the first time we do this, so...
That's fine though. The office is really nice. We should do this more often.
Yeah.
You should come here more often.
Is it working now?
I think which page do you wanna like show?
I'm showing it. Do you got it?
No, I don't think so. But
is it loading? There we go. Yes.
There we go.
Okay, perfect. Right. So good. This article is a few days old, and I'm only using Fox News because it's interestingly, it's like one of the only mainstream media companies that's covering this. But if you guys want to get a sense of when the government shutdown is likely to end, definitely follow these prediction markets like Polymarket and Kalshi. Obviously, they're not perfect, but in terms of real-time indicators of what's going to happen, that's way more accurate than listening to some whoever this guy is. You're looking like shocked on the TV, like they're asking him like, what do you think is going to end? He probably has no idea, but you can see here, Kalshi said that it's going to last, like most people on Kalshi think it's going to last over 21 days. Yeah. So that is going to be for a while. And then 72% of traders on Polymarket expect the shutdown to last at least 2 weeks. And I think that would take us into next week. And earlier we were discussing that I think it's going to be closed on Monday, and then Tuesday is when they're going to actually start discussing again potentially what comes next. So I guess with that in mind, just as like a little bit of a macro backdrop, Gabbie, is there like a Bitcoin chart or something you wanted to share in terms of like what are you watching now? I guess or which crypto interests you the most right now?
So the thing is, like on Fridays, I'm not very big on looking at the chart. So I usually don't trade on Fridays and Mondays because you tend to get a lot of manipulative moves.
Really?
And by the end of the week and beginning week. To be honest, what I'm most excited is the beginning of next week, because the way I look at the charts, and I try to educate our audience here in Coin Bureau Trading as well, the way I look at the charts is a little bit different. For me, the month starts the second week.
Why is that?
So there is a specific reason for that. I don't want to get into it, but I look at it at the same time in terms of quarters as well. So for example, first quarter is not going to start for me in January. Like I'm going to start it from April.
Really?
Yeah. So that's the way I look at the charts. But yeah, hopefully I'll be educating a little bit more on that soon. But yeah, so for me, I'm looking into next week. I'm very excited for the beginning because that's going to be the beginning of Q4 for me.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, exactly. Next week.
Interesting. So Q4 hasn't started yet, guys. We're still in Q3. That's why everything sucks.
This is why a lot of people get a little confused, and I try to, make it clear to the audience and all the traders that are watching us every day. But yeah, I'm actually extremely positive about Q4. And what I'm expecting is for, the real bull market to start.
Yeah.
So in terms of, you did ask me what's my favorite coin, and I want to say it's BNB.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you have a chart you could show us? I mean, I'm sure a lot of people are wondering. Because
sure.
I'm sure anyone who's in the trenches or on social media have probably seen there's hilarious comments like everyone loves CZ for 1 second. And then there's some crazy comment, something like I've seen enough, send them back to jail. Just a horrible thing to say. Come on, CZ's it's not his fault. He's come on,
it's
guys.
It's not his fault. Come on now.
He's CZ he's got better things to do than trade against you. You know what I mean? There's other people you can blame for that.
Oh, CZ's the market maker. That's screwing us all.
Yeah.
Let's go. All right. So I'm gonna share my chart over here. Let's go. So yeah, basically BNB, as you can see, super impressive. I think we were already on the Coin Bureau trading channel where I gave this specific buy. So from when we had the buy, look at that, the coin is up 46.4% from the last buy area. And until then, it's just been straight up with little to no pullbacks. And literally, this is the first time right now that we're seeing some sort of a pullback. And this is actually the 4-hour time frame. Let's have a look on the daily.
Yeah.
On the daily, there is literally no signs of stopping this coin, right? So the thing about me is I utilize a lot of tools in my trading, right? You watch my streams.
Yeah.
I watch your streams, your videos. Yeah, of course. So yeah, you use a lot of tools like Bollinger Bands and stuff like that, which is pretty awesome. I use more mechanical tools as well. And to me, this coin has a lot more potential, but the first areas that I'm looking for, some sort of pullback, if even it's going to happen, because I don't even know if it's going to happen, but around $1,500 to $2,000 on Binance Coin.
Yeah, I'll actually, on that note, I'll give a quick shout out to David. I think BNB is a really great example of a crypto that has when the trend is just going up, what are you going to say? No, it's topping here. No, it's topping here. No, it's topping here. And it just blows through because that's what happens, right? The people start shorting it and that squeezes all the shorts and it keeps going higher. Shout out to David from our research team who's that's something he's constantly repeating. He's just ignore everything and just follow the trend. When you see that something is going up,
the trend,
don't be no, it can't go up. It can't keep going up because especially once we get more into Q4, you're going to see charts like this where it's just bull flag, bull flag, bull flag.
This is the thing. I think I had one educational video on Coin Bureau trading channel, and I was trying to explain to people how we have different market structures, and if we're getting into that bull market, finally, you're going to see charts that are looking exactly like that. So essentially, what you're going to see is a leg up, and then a small range, right, and then a leg up as well. So the way I always say, if you have identified that this is the structure that you're finding yourself in, such as BNB right now, you see small range, leg up, small range, leg up, this is likely to continue. So the best thing you can do is position yourself at the lower side of the range in order to continue, to follow the trend. So basically that's it. One of 3 market structures, it's so simple.
Yeah.
But yeah.
In that case, Gabbie, also, because I'm sure that many people are watching the market right now and they're thinking, okay, but tell us, okay, that's great about BNB, it's cooling off, so it's going to get another bull flag. Great. But what about the rest of the crypto market? What's going on? I'll actually, if it's all right, I'll also share a chart here.
Let's go.
Yeah. I think I don't know if you'll have to stop sharing on your end. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Straight up, guys. I'll even when I do anyone who watches my streams with Aaron, he's the one who's doing everything on the back end. I have no idea how to manage a stream, so I'm kind of here, hey guys in the background, please help me. But yeah, I am. 1 second. Okay, you can see it. Is it looking? I mean, I'll be peeking over. If you see me peeking over to Gabbie's thing, it's because I'm just checking to see if it worked. Okay, so. Again, my technical analysis compared to Gabbie is childishly simple, but at the same time, the way that I see, as just like a fun fact, the way that I see technical analysis and all these different indicators is you're looking at the same thing through a different lens. And for some people, they prefer to look through one lens, and for other people, they like to look at things through another. For me, the way that I analyze charts is I love to look at structures and patterns. I don't necessarily care. I don't necessarily care that much about key levels. Simple reason being that so many people watch key levels, so many algorithms watch key levels, and when there's manipulation, then they nuke it through that key level, right? Either below or above. So I prefer to that's why, with these, so right now what I see is a falling wedge here, descending wedge, whatever you want to call it, for Bitcoin, which is a bullish, basically reversal pattern. It's still kind of, Bitcoin's still chopping in this range here, but basically in the next day or two, we should see, okay, is this going to get a bounce now higher out of this range, or is it going to roll over? And then,
sorry to interrupt. So basically, you're expecting some sort of massive reaction out of this, right?
Precisely.
Okay.
I'm expecting like a huge move, like literally in the next 24 hours out of Bitcoin. Assuming this is a descending wedge or falling wedge or whatever technical term you want to use there, it's going to explode to the upside. And as a fun fact, guys, when I see a pattern like this, and I draw these trend lines, and this is a kind of thing that you can use in your own trading. If you've drawn some trend lines or drawn like a support resistance line, and you're not sure if you've done it correctly, what I like to do is I literally just go, in this case I'm on Binance, but I just throw on the Bollinger Bands, and I can see that on the 4 hour, you can see that the 4 hour Bollinger Band is actually so close. I'll actually move the line. It's literally like I drew the line so well that it's actually on top of the, you know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, so I must be onto something here. So if we do get a break above, maybe I'll just remove the line entirely. It's like that whole upper trend line is basically the Bollinger Band on the 4 hour, the Bollinger Band moving average on the 4 hour. So if we get a move above that, then it's probably going to continue higher. And I guess I'll actually even delete this this other line here, and I'll show you guys even simpler, is if we remove completely everything here, even with the Bollinger Band, and I'll just kind of move around with my mouse here. That what I love is, again, I love looking at structures, and you can almost see that we have almost like potentially like a little double bottom pattern forming here of some kind, you know what I mean? And it's very basic, and you can say, oh, but there's like a divergence, and there's this and there's that and whatever. But for me, it's like, well, this kind of looks like a double bottom. And of course, and who knows, maybe I'm completely wrong and it could be something else. But until I get a confirmation of a break lower or break higher, until that time, man, like I'm bullish, especially when I, as I was noting earlier, is like, throw on those, say like, okay, so we have like an upper kind of like resistance. You can tell by the wicks when you see this is like super basic, but if you see a wick on the top, that means that people are taking profit. And if you see a wick on the bottom, that means that people are buying the dip, essentially. Like that when there's some liquidation, right? Short liquidation or a long liquidation, and then someone's buying it up, which is part of why like a lot of traders, they like to look at the wicks. But for me, especially when I'm looking at crypto charts, I'm like, I literally do not care about the wick, because that wick
You're looking at the body of the candle. I do understand. Well, the wicks can be manipulated, first of all, and they can be trapping traders within the wicks.
Exactly.
So I do agree to a massive extent with you, by the way. I also look at the bodies, especially for reversals and stuff like that. That's most important. I agree. But it's going to be interesting. Let me just share my Bitcoin chart. Hold on. Please. Let's go to Bitcoin over here.
Because I'm curious to see, because Gabbie, I was watching your live stream, I think from yesterday, and you said, you're like, I'm expecting a big move for Bitcoin. I'm like, great, that falling wedge must be right on track.
So, all right, let's start from the beginning, right? I don't know, do you like to go from like a higher time frame to a lower time frame?
Yeah, 100%.
There you go. So the thing is, if we look on the weekly time frame here for Bitcoin, what is the thing that stands out the most within these candles, right? Well, it's this huge candle over here. Well, what is that? Learn your Japanese sticks, you guys. Well, basically, this is a bullish engulfing candle on a weekly time frame.
Yes.
I mean, it doesn't really get better than that, to be honest with you. So the thing is, you have a massive sell wall that has developed over here at around 119.5. So that's a massive level. And for us to just go and break through it with a bullish engulfing candle on a weekly time frame, that's a huge deal. Not only, but what's happening today is even more extraordinary, because now we have a positive correlation as the buyers are stepping in to protect the zone and to use it as what retail traders would call support.
Yes.
Correct. So that's all very good. But if you go on a lower time frame, right, you also could understand, let's say on a daily, there is a lot of space where Bitcoin could pull back and be extremely safe. So this is why I wanted to tell everyone it's kind of looking good at the moment, you guys, right? Like it hasn't really looked better than this so far. So yeah, I think we're gonna have great time. And also, see, the one candle that's worrying me is around 115, 114K, and I think that that candle is going to be a protection in case we start getting any drops to the downside.
Yeah.
So you know, 115K is like the market maker safe zone at this moment, in my opinion. If we continue to drop, yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, in that case, because speaking of long-term timeframes, Gabbie, in that case, I'll share also a longer-term time frame chart here on Bitcoin. Because what's really interesting, and again, this, I know it's a very, like, some people would say, like, unconventional way of looking at the chart. And basically what I'm, oh, sorry, yeah, I guess you have to stop sharing, and then mine's okay, cool.
Correct, yeah.
So
here we go.
What you're looking at here is now Bitcoin on the monthly. So what's really interesting, of course, there's a lot going on here. Maybe I'll just remove the Bollingers just to make things a little bit clearer. So one thing that I find very fascinating is that again, like, I know you're supposed to look at RSI in terms of like patterns and in terms of like divergences and like whatever.
Yeah.
But what I like to look at RSI is it shows me almost like, I don't want to say hidden patterns, but things that you wouldn't necessarily like find intuitive. So in this case, there's a case, in my opinion, and feel free to disagree, guys, in the comments or in the stream or whatever.
All right.
In my opinion, the rally that we had in early 2024 was equivalent to the 2019 rally. The thing that was quote unquote different was that in 2019, not as many people knew about crypto, whereas in early 2020, we had the approval of the spot Bitcoin ETFs, and that brought back a whole bunch of retail investors, you could say, like earlier back to crypto. And my kind of theory that I've mentioned before is that a lot of these retail from the previous cycle, when Bitcoin ETFs got approved, they thought, oh my God, I'm going to buy altcoins now.
Right.
And they bought as much as they could basically in early 2024. And most altcoins have basically been bleeding since that time because they've been waiting for new retail to arrive, which doesn't happen until the end of the cycle, until the Q4 like blow off top. That's typically when all the retail comes. And that, in my opinion,
it's too late.
Exactly.
Because they need to get burned just like all of us.
Yeah. But in all seriousness, like, it's really, when you look at things through that lens, you understand, well, wait a minute, theoretically, if the early 2024 rally is kind of like 2019, then based on the RSI, we're kind of like in the fall 2020 period entering now, like, and you can even see on the RSI, like, bro, and people will say, oh, all the bears will say, there's a bearish divergence on the RSI, whatever. And I'm like, man, but just go back to the previous cycle.
And
you
see what happens when we had the bearish divergence before.
You see the exact same structure even. Like, you can see, like, there's a little, like, almost like a double bottom of some kind, or like a little, you know what I mean? It's so fascinating to me. I mean, you could say that whole structure here is like a cup and handle, and here again, we have like a cup and handle, which you can't really see on the chart, right? It's just like, it looks like just grinding up into some kind of wedge, and everyone's saying, oh, it's going to fall out of the wedge and collapse.
I mean, let's be honest, right? It's all just part of the huge debasement plan. Big tech ruling everything, right? Bitcoin.
Don't take me down the rabbit hole.
Metals. No, I'm not going to, but
I'll never
like,
get out.
it's just crazy. Like, look what happened to gold and silver, and it's just going to go palladium. Like, it's just all
100%.
Oh, by the way, today on the news side, I kind of saw that China made some new regulations
Against chips, right?
Yeah.
That's another macro thing. Yeah.
So they're like basically going to require everyone that wants to export whatever rare earths out of the country, they're going to be required to have a license. And that made the markets explode.
And the U.S. also retaliated, if I'm not mistaken, by saying we're also going to add restrictions on chips from Intel and what the other one is, I can't remember. But basically,
that's so funny. Oh my God.
But so it does seem to be.
The standoff is insane.
Yeah. But anyway, long story short, with this chart is that when you look at what happened in the previous cycle here, like what awaits us basically here in Q4 is basically potentially multiple candles. Again, if history repeats, which again is sample size of one. I'm sure already people in the comments, it's a sample size of one, it doesn't count. But I'm sorry, the structure looks the same and almost like in many ways, in more ways than one.
I mean, what else do we have really to compare to, right?
Yeah.
So how many percentage of gain was that, by the way?
Oh, sorry. Okay,
That's
I already stopped sharing.
Go
One
on.
second. I'll have to go back. How many percentage of gain for which? Sorry, Gabbie. Like in the previous cycle?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Let me check roughly. If we're like roughly, let's say October 2020. Oh no, not sticky mouse. Okay, there we go. Because I have so that was 500% gain.
Oh wow!
Roughly speaking, that's not too bad. Like from the bottom of that, from the moment that RSI kind of like whatever RSI cup and handle or whatever you want to call it.
RSI cup and handle. Oh yeah, it does look like a one though. Yeah.
So that was 500%. So if we were to see something I mean, probably not going to see another. I mean, come on, it's not going to go. Bitcoin's probably not going to go 5x from here. But if we do a diminishing return type of thing, this whole forecast of like 240k Bitcoin, 200k Bitcoin starts to look a little bit more, I guess, valid.
Realistic,
Yeah, but the main thing that I'm watching, to be completely honest, and this is where for all the bears out there, here, I'll throw you an actual bone. One thing that kind of concerns me is that you can see that there's like a multi-year potentially bearish divergence forming on Bitcoin, where here, like when you see the RSI get into that, whatever it is, 84, 85 level, and if it gets rejected there, then, you know, and we're in the fourth year of a 4-year cycle, fourth quarter in Bitcoin's fourth cycle. Okay. And like everyone's talking about 4, and you have like CZ putting out 4s, and everyone's like, with all the numerology guys, I'm sure in the comments are like, oh my God,
wait, is that a conspiracy theory? I'm so into that kind of stuff.
Actually?
Okay, let's go.
Yeah. Well, I've seen one.
I mean, I like watching it, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
It's entertaining.
Anyway. Okay. What else you got, Gabby? What are you looking at? If you have nothing else, I can share some more stuff. I mean, I'm sure that you.
Oh no, I can talk for days.
I saw Gabby's trading view, and it's like a treasure trove. There's just like
it's so much things
like
going on, right? All right, cool. What else could we look at? Oh, I can tell you like sort of like what my tops are over here that I'm looking at.
Yes, please. I'm sure everyone wants to know. Yeah.
So yeah, in my opinion, like it is possible for Bitcoin to extend above 180. To be honest, anything above 180 for me, it's going to be like a huge gift. But realistically, I'm looking at around 150, 55K. I don't know if people like that. I don't care, frankly. It's just I'm looking at the charts, and whatever the charts are giving, that's what it is. Okay. So interesting. Let's look at ETH.
Yes. Oh yeah. People are
this is what I like to do. And I just said to you, you were like, oh, did you look at your charts? I'm like, no, I never look at my charts before a stream. I'm like, I like to look at them raw, and I think it gives the people, the realistic perspective of how I'm charting live. Do you know what I mean? So ETH on the 12-hour time frame, it's not looking particularly great at the moment. So I do expect some sort of a drop of like 10%, 10 to 12% on Ethereum. I don't know if it's going to manifest. Nothing is 100%, but usually when I get these triangular formation using my my indicators that I've developed over here, they tend to chase the lows that are such as this one, which is what's considered a weak low over here. So around 3,800. And to be honest, when I look at the altcoins as well, like this is what I like to see. I like to see them all sort of like match together with like zones or points of interest, if you will. So yeah, there is some sort of correlation between the altcoins at around this level. So yeah, I am very much open to this happening. And if it happens, I want it to happen very soon.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I gotcha. In that case, Gabby, if it's okay, I'll follow up with with another chart on Ethereum, because one thing, of course, when it comes to altcoins in general, everyone's watching Bitcoin dominance and all this whole debate about is Bitcoin dominance going to go up? Is it going to go down? Whatever. Yeah. And the thing that wait, are you able to? Is it working? Okay, perfect.
Oh, your screen. Yeah. There we go.
So the thing that fascinates me about it's, and I'll be the first one to admit, like, this is actually a mistake that I made, and any Coin Bureau Club members watching will know this, that like basically late last year, I was forecasting altcoin prices using others, like using the index. Okay. But the thing is, if you look under the hood of others as an index, it consists mostly of like Sui, Hedera, and these cryptos. So all those cryptos did extremely well late last year, but then everything else below that didn't. And it's a similar situation now, I think, honestly, with everyone who's just watching, who's blindly watching Bitcoin dominance and not thinking like, what is Bitcoin? Like, if you look into Bitcoin dominance, what does it consist of primarily? Correct. The biggest thing inside Bitcoin dominance is ETH BTC. And that's the main reason why like Bitcoin dominance has dropped since July. But the biggest beneficiary of that was basically Ethereum, Solana, and BNB, obviously, right? So these three cryptos, like if you look under the hood, why has Bitcoin dominance dropped so much over the last few months? It's literally Bitcoin, Ethereum, and it's Ethereum, Solana, and BNB. Those three together have basically have been the cause of the main drop of Bitcoin dominance. So when it comes to forecasting what's going to happen next with Bitcoin dominance, it's very useful, in my opinion, to look at these charts like ETH BTC or BNB BTC or whatever. And the one I have pulled up now is ETH BTC on the weekly. And as you guys can see, like as I've hopefully drawn out clearly enough, is that you do almost have this like bottoming structure here over the last few months on ETH BTC. And not only that, but again, like as I was mentioning earlier, is when I see something that I think like I have a sense of like, okay, maybe there's like, I don't know, here's some kind of support line, I don't know, like around, let's say a 0.035 or 0.034 or something, like again, exact levels, always like kind of wobbly. but somewhere basically, you know, a little bit lower from here, roughly speaking. And then if we go out to the monthly, and then again, I just throw on, what is it, the Bollinger Bands, and you can see same idea. It's like, it's basically right on the Bollinger Band. And not only that, but this pattern here, potentially, I mean, some people might disagree with this, but I honestly think that ETH BTC is not going to get rejected here. I think it's going to break above this level. I could be wrong, but it's going to break above this level. And by the end of this month, you're going to have a huge, basically upthrust in Ethereum relative to Bitcoin, because this looks like, on the monthly, it looks like a bull flag that's potentially forming here, which of course, you know, it's harder to see on the weekly. You look at it and you're like, oh, like, and even on the daily, you're looking at this, it just looks like a nasty price action, like Jesus Christ.
It's so interesting what you're saying, because, you know, I don't trade the same way you do,
of course.
but your technicals are basically coming with the same conclusion as my technicals.
Exactly.
Which is fascinating. But yeah, I do agree. I don't think that it looks weak at all, especially when you pull the monthly. You know, that's a very high time frame. And there was a confirmation just of there on the candlesticks, which was very, very good to see on a monthly time frame.
But yeah.
So yeah, I think you're right, and a lot of people, right? You also need to remember, like, ETH BTC is not very good with technical analysis, right? So not all technicals are working particularly perfect, but yeah, a lot of people, even on Coin Bureau trading chat, oh my God, Gabbie, let's look at Bitcoin dominance. I'm like, you guys, you don't understand. Like, there's more important things that we need to look at before that. But yeah, fascinating stuff. I love your analysis. But yeah, so what are your expectations, like, in terms of Q4? Like, what are you looking at?
So and maybe I guess that's a perfect excuse for me to share another screen.
Okay, let's go.
To look at and people who've been watching my videos recently, they've been watching a lot of my analysis of Bitcoin dominance. And I guess I'll give, the DXY.
DXY. Yeah, let's go. Let's look at the dollar.
So the US dollar. So if we zoom out again to the weekly, and this is shout out to FIMAP or FIMAP or however you pronounce, I don't know if he's watching the stream, but one of the members in the Coin Bureau Club who's been not like helping me, but he's also, ever since I basically identified, like, hey guys, like in previous cycles, what you would basically see is you would see a medium-term downtrend in the US dollar. That initial medium-term downtrend would basically be dominated in the crypto market would rally, obviously, because DXY down means everything else up. In that first leg lower in this medium-term downtrend, Bitcoin would basically be dominant. And then in the second leg lower, you get an altcoin season. That's what we saw in 2017. And that's what we saw in 2020 and 2021. And of course, there is a period here in late 2021 where the US dollar started rising and altcoins were also rallying at the time. But the thing is that as a rule of thumb, when the US dollar goes up, everything else goes down. And if you look here on the daily or on the weekly, you can see that the US dollar has gone up quite a bit. And this is precisely why the crypto market has been so brutalized over the last few days, in my opinion. And of course, things are looking pretty hairy here, like on the weekly. It looks like, you know, the US dollar is going to get like a nice squeeze here on the weekly Bollinger Bands, and it's going to go up. However, depending on what happens with the U.S. government shutdown, because historically speaking, every U.S. government shutdown, I think I might even have it noted on the weekly here, every single U.S. government shutdown either resulted in a drop in the DXY. I think this is one of them here in 2018. That was the previous shutdown. You can see there was a drop in the DXY before and also, during and also kind of after. And then the last major one, which I think was all the way back, if I have it highlighted here, I think it was in 2013 sometime. Then maybe oh yeah, here we go. And we're on the weekly chart. That one didn't last as long, but you can see again, the last time we had a lengthy government shutdown, also drop in the DXY. Like in that case, it didn't happen during, it happened after. So if I can see that the last two prolonged government shutdowns, because there's only been two in the last 20 years, the last two prolonged government shutdowns have basically had a massive drop in the DXY. That tells me that the chance that this, as scary as it looks here on the short term, both on the daily and the weekly,
it does though,
as scary as it looks, the chances that it's going to continue dropping are assuming history repeats around the government shutdown, then it's probably
more probabilistic. It's probably what you're saying.
Exactly. And the last thing I'll mention on that is, if we even look here, and maybe I'll just draw it out, this is something that members of the Coin Bureau Club know that I've been watching closely. And again, this is a very unconventional way of analyzing the RSI and like saying, oh, it's not technically oversold or whatever. But again, I love to look for these types of like patterns where I'm like, the last time we saw something like this in recent memory in the RSI, basically the US dollar just basically had just a big grind lower. And I think that potentially, you know, maybe, who knows, maybe the US dollar will go a little bit higher first, but we're close to a top in the dollar, and that means it's going to start grinding lower, which suggests that, to your point, Q4, second half of October, looks like it's going to be bullish, but I honestly think it depends entirely on the US dollar. If the US dollar continues powering higher, like it looks like it's doing now on the weekly, we're probably not going to be in for a very good time for stocks, for crypto, for anything, potentially. And I know there's an argument to be made that people say, oh, well, the crypto is dollarized because of stable coins, but we can see in the short-term timeframes that when the US dollar goes up, crypto goes down. So, you know, is there going to be some kind of tail event?
There is still correlation for sure.
Yeah, but anyway, so sorry to interrupt, Gabbie. That's the last thing. That's the main thing, guys, to watch, and I'm going to be doing my best to keep you posted on the Coin Bureau trading channel, as I'm going to be watching the DXY very closely, and I'm also going to be doing, next Tuesday, I'll be filming a video for Saturday. I apologize to those of you who are watching my videos on Saturday, like it's already outdated, but I'll give you guys a spoiler if you're watching the stream and you're this far in. There's a very fascinating theory. It's called the dollar milkshake theory by Brent Johnson, this macro analyst guy.
Oh, yeah.
And his argument is basically that what's going to happen is at some point in the next whatever it is decade, he's been saying this now for many years, but it's a very compelling theory, and it's basically that eventually what's going to happen is there's going to be crises overseas, like with terms of currencies and bonds and whatever. All the capital will flow into the United States. The U.S. stock market, U.S. stocks will go up, gold will go up, the U.S. dollar will go up, which sounds very similar to what we've seen over the last like 3 weeks or so.
Wow.
And that basically all dollarized assets plus the U.S. dollar everything is gonna go up, and then eventually the authorities are going to have to basically step in and have some kind of plaza accord to stop things. And then that's when everything first it'll crash everything, then anyway. I'll explain the details in the upcoming video. But the point being is that what people forget is about the US dollar is that there's more inherent or latent, or whatever term you want to use, there's more demand for the US dollar in the world in terms of financial asset than anything else that exists. And the reason is because more than half of the global debt is priced in US dollars. So every single month or every single day or every single minute, someone has to pay US dollar debt. So they have to they have to sell something or get US dollars, or sell something else to get US dollars to pay down their US dollar debt. And this is happening every second, every minute, every day, 24/7, something to a tune of like $1 trillion a year, which is probably even more now. But there's this intense demand for the US dollar from debt. And when times get tough and people are like, damn, I need to pay these US dollar debts, they liquidate everything else to buy the US dollar to pay down those debts. And that's how you end up in
that's what's been happening for years. Yeah, but when you look at Trump now, you actually realize that he doesn't want people only to sell to the US. He wants people to buy.
Yes.
But what he doesn't realize is that from people to buy from the US, like the currency needs to be like low. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but that's interesting. And it's kind of crazy. Like, what are you going to buy? Like, ChatGPT subscription, like, they're not like made in America. It's not like that huge at this point. You know what I mean?
But it's a good point. Real quick, I'll say, Gabbie, and I'll throw it over to you. Is that like you're right. Like, and it's kind of like a well-known thing that everyone says, oh, the Trump administration wants to lower the US, or wants to weaken the US dollar so that it makes the US more competitive and all these things, which is true. Yeah. But on the flip side, you guys have to remember that the US dollar is a very powerful tool, and the US has, for the last however many decades, used it as a financial weapon, like in terms of sanctioning people and whatever.
Correct.
And what's really fascinating there is that, and people don't remember this, and I'm sorry, I'll keep it as short as I can. But in 2022, when the Fed was raising interest rates, there's a headline from the Financial Times that everyone forgot, and that's that the IMF signed a record amount of loans, US dollar loans, to developing countries. And for those who don't know, the IMF basically goes to these developing countries and they say, hey, you need US dollars, we'll give them to you if you do this, if you sell your corporations to the US or whatever, right? And the IMF, and you can see this Christina Georgieva or whatever her name is, like the head of the head lady, she's like in the picture of the Financial Times photos. It's like IMF issues record amounts of bailouts to like these developing countries, and she's like shaking their hand and super happy. And the reason all those bailouts happen, guys, is if you look at what happened to the US dollar. Let me actually zoom out here hold into
on,
the weekly.
We need to share your screen.
Oh, is it not sharing?
There we go, we're sharing.
Okay, cool. If you look to the US dollar, guys, what happened in 2022? Like, just look at that. The US dollar, maybe I'll zoom out even more just to make it clear, and I'll maybe remove all this stuff there you go, and maybe I'll even remove this. You can see, like, look what happened, guys, in 2022. That was when the headline was published in October 2022 or November, maybe it was around that time, that when the Fed started raising rates and the US dollar just, when people talk about draining liquidity, altcoins draining liquidity, US dollar is what drains liquidity, okay? It's not altcoins draining liquidity. The US dollar will drain liquidity. Yeah, exactly. No, like when you had this huge run up, it squeezed all these countries and it forced them to basically come to certain agreements, which is why there's, in terms of Trump's case, he's trying to force all these countries to do things with tariffs and whatever. Some would say it's not really working and whatever. So how else can you force countries to come to the table? You allow the US dollar to basically become stronger by restricting the flow of US dollars, and that's what causes the DXY to rise, and you end up in like an IMF type bailout situation where Trump says, okay, so you want my US dollars, huh? So you're going to have to, do this, and this, or else you're going to get crushed by the dollar going up and all of your assets being liquidated to pay those US dollar debts. Anyway, sorry guys, I know it's like really macro heavy, but anyways, Gabbie.
No, that's very, very helpful. I'm getting a lot of, I'm getting educated by you right now, which is
All
great.
Right. What else are you watching, Gabbie? What else? The original question, sorry, was how do you see Q4? So how do you see Q4? My answer is that basically DXY and all that stuff, but how do you see Q4 playing out?
Like I said, I'm very positive on Q4. I mean, I've been trading for a lot of years, mainly the traditional markets, a bit more than crypto. But yeah, I mean, I hardly remember Q4 that was bad. To be honest, most of the time we're doing quite well. We have Santa rally almost every single time. Like I remember trying to short Santa rallies and being like contra to it, but it never works.
In stocks or in crypto?
In stocks, mainly.
Wow. But
so yeah, I am. Yeah, this year I think the technicals are pretty much showing that we're gonna have a good year, and I'm actually expecting for this extension to kind of go into February as well.
Really?
Yeah. So like January, February, and I think that's when I'm getting ready to offload some of my crypto.
So you think cycle top in January 2026?
Into February, yeah.
For stocks or for crypto?
Crypto, okay. Yeah, for crypto.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I think that's when I'm planning to exit. A lot of people, it's kind of interesting because I talk to people out there, right, that are invested in some way in crypto, not necessarily traders, and they have all told me the same thing, that they are going to get out of the market in November. And I'm like, okay, that's maybe one signal that I should not get out in November. But yeah, I do think we're going to get extended up to February next year.
But what if I told you, Gabbie, that now everyone is expecting a 2026 cycle top and that it's going to go into Q1 or Q2? Like that's because everyone's watching.
Into April?
Yeah,
I've heard that as well, actually. Yeah, that's very interesting.
Because everyone's following this ISM. As a fun fact, guys, and you can look this up on your own time. Mad respect to Raoul Pal and all these guys. Like they do great analysis. But if you actually listen to Michael Howell's, check out Michael Howell's recent interview, guys, with Julia LaRoche on YouTube, where in the first 5 minutes he literally says like the economic cycle has nothing to do with liquidity, and if you're watching the economic cycle to guide your liquidity forecast, you're going to get wrecked. And that's basically what Michael Howe says in the first 5 minutes of his interview with Julia LaRoche. So definitely give that a watch and have some thought. And people say, oh, but Michael's saying that global liquidity is going to top in like Q1 next year. But in Michael's own analysis, if you actually watch the guy and not just like X post on social media, you'll see that he says specifically that at the peak of global liquidity is when commodities start rallying, where the most of the gains in crypto and everything, that all happens on the way up in liquidity. So you're not asking when is liquidity going to peak, you're asking when is that acceleration going to slow down, and that is going to happen, from what I understand, by the end of the year. But that doesn't mean that crypto is going to like end at the end of the year, to your point. And research by other people like Lynn Alden shows that when crypto really gets into the mania phase, it will decouple from global liquidity to the upside. So that idea of like a top in January, February, from a purely liquidity macro perspective, is possible.
It is possible, yeah, from what you're saying. Yeah, I also think that, it's not necessarily that everything's going to end into next year, right? So the way I'm looking at the charts is I'll probably exit at around February, and then I'll be looking to come back at around October.
Yeah. Really?
Right. Yeah.
And in that case, Gabbie, I'm sure many people are wondering as well, is like because I'm sure this is a concern that many people have, is on the one hand, if you made it this far, then you have two biggest concerns, is either selling too early or selling too late.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
What will it take? And if you have a chart to show this, I think many people would like that. Is like what would you need to see, for example, in Bitcoin or in Ethereum or in total crypto market cap, whatever, for you to think, okay, maybe the top is not going to be in January, February, but maybe it'll be later or it'll be sooner. Are there specific levels, a specific scenario you have in mind?
They would be 100%. So for that sort of scenario, I'm going to be looking at where the buyers are holding control and where they're losing it.
How do you watch that?
It's actually very simple. Thing is, it's not that complicated. Just like you say, my trading is very simple. Mine is simple as well. You have to be able to understand and read the chart patterns, because that's pretty much what you can do when you're a technical analyst, right? So the thing is, let's say, for example, if I'm on a Bitcoin chart, for example, I would like to look on the monthly time frame, right? So I would be looking at the monthly time frame, and then I would not necessarily exit when price starts pulling back. Like, I'm not looking to sell at the very high, right? You're like, what you need to do is you need to take a little bit of profit as price extends to, let's say, my standard deviation levels, for example, like I said, 155, for example, then I'll be taking a chunk off at that price point, and then I'll be observing price, for example, on the monthly time frame, and then I will try to understand, okay, when did buyers take control last?
Right.
Right. So for example, on the monthly time frame over here, even though the chart is very, very busy, right, you can still see that this is a bearish candle, this is a bullish candle, for example, right? So the last time the buyers took control was pretty much at around 115K, around here, right? This is where we're trying to take control right now. So then let's say we're trading right now at around 155, and I'll be taking a little bit over here, and then I will observe how price reacts when it reaches to the last candle where sellers were in control.
Right.
And when if sellers regain control within that specific candle, then I'll be okay. That's a confirmation for me. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's good. Well,
but then also, even if that happens, that doesn't mean that price is not going to oscillate and like come back to a specific level once again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's not all said and done when that happens. A lot of time price retraces several times to a higher level before manipulating, what a lot of people call that manipulation, before it actually gets into the direction that was intended for that move.
Because
so yeah,
that's another question that probably many people will have is like, when it comes to taking profits, right? Like, do you have, what is your, I think you've probably mentioned it in your videos before, but I don't think I've seen it. What would be your profit? I mean, you guys, you kind of outlined it just now, but in terms of profit taking, like, for me, I'll be straight up, and some people who are from the Coin Bureau Club watching will know my style is like all in and all out. And it's really funny, like many people in the comments, like whatever haters on the Coin Bureau trading channel, like they'll say like, oh, like you've got it wrong. It's like, bro, I've just been slowly accumulating. Like I'm actually done accumulating. Like I've been slowly accumulating like whatever it is, Bitcoin, altcoins, and every single time the crypto market would get to like a low period where like sentiment was just absolutely horrendous, is like I would just add more, and that was it. And that's all I've been doing is like adding more, and especially when the sentiment is bad, add more. And then I'm just sitting and waiting. I'm like, I do have like some.
Well, that's correct.
Yeah, I have some active trades, of course, like for the Coin Bureau trading. There's like we have like a portfolio on Bybit, and I've been long Ethereum since like 1500, and it's like doing pretty well. But besides that,
have you cut any profits from that position already, or you keep it 100% running?
I keep 100%
See,
running.
that's the thing. Yeah, I'm not like that.
Yeah.
So for me, like, if I have a trade like that, sometimes I tend to keep like 20% running until I decide, okay, that's enough.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I mean? So let's say if Bitcoin reaches to a price that I would want to exit, depending on how far it is in my sort of evaluation of the cycle, I will then, let's say, cut respectively 70% or 50%, depending on the current market conditions. Yeah. Right. But I always like to leave a 20% runner, which I close most of the times, because I've also had, a lot of active trades on Ethereum that I had 20% run for a long time, and I was up like 2,000%, and then I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna cut it, and let's get into the new trade, right? There's not many exchanges that I can trade on.
Yeah, very nice. But yeah, I mean, I guess because we're like 45 minutes in, roughly speaking. Yeah, nice. Okay, sweet. Great stuff. Because in that case, Gabbie, like I'll put the offer to you, and if you say yes or no, and then I can blame it, and then I can blame it on you depending on how it goes. So earlier you said, and I mean some people who are watching maybe also, that you're a fan of like these kind of like conspiracy like type of like takes on the market.
Oh God. Okay.
Do you want to see like a really like off the deep end one or
yeah, 100%.
Okay, perfect. So everyone who's made it this far, and whoever's watching later, I'll be completely honest. I've been tempted to make a video about this on Coin Bureau Trading. I think it's a little bit off the deep end, but I will mention it very briefly on the. It's nothing like.
I wonder if I heard about it. Are you guys curious? Come on, like this video before we get to the conspiracy theory.
It is something I've posted about in the Coin Bureau Club, and in like we have a rabbit hole channel where you post like more speculative stuff.
Yeah, I've seen it.
And this is going to sound a little bit crazy, and you might think this is a prediction that is completely out of like left field and makes zero sense. But it's something that I've seen like from a few people. So
I'm gonna peek.
Yeah. So I'm just looking at a post here on X, and I'll read it out to you guys, and feel free to react in the comments, and everyone's gonna be like downvote, like Jesus, what is this?
Wow.
So this is a guy who is this Goombler guy is apparently some like one of these like anon traders who's like very wealthy, and he just posts stuff like occasionally, and a lot of it's kind of like borderline schizophrenic, to be honest.
Oh, let's go.
Perfect. He's been posting some really interesting stuff. So I'll summarize this. So for anyone who's I'll read it out for anyone who's listening. So participants are going to be blindsided in late 2025 with the largest market crash in history. This will be caused by 10.0 plus magnitude earthquake in the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench, rupturing the fault all the way up to Alaska and all the way down to the Philippines. The energy released in this event will be equivalent to 2.5 trillion tons of TNT, 80 times more powerful than the 9.0 Tohoku earthquake in 2011, 125 times more powerful than the Hiroshima-Nagasaki nuclear bombs. This will cause 50-meter plus high tsunamis in Tokyo, Hawaii, Indonesia, and the west coast of the USA. The global death toll will be in the millions. Prior to the event, altcoins will go parabolic. Bitcoin will surpass 130K. Euphoria will ensue. You'll be intoxicated with greed, and this is the exact moment the turning point of the event will take place. Eradication of bloodlines and the largest transfer of wealth in history of the planet at the same time. I wish you all survival and prosperity, or don't listen, or do whatever the F you want.
My God.
And
Hold on. Is he like predicting an earthquake?
Yes, and this is where...
So he is like some sort of, how do you call these people that...
like, you know, I don't know, like psychic or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
But what's really interesting about this guy, and this is part of why, like, and again, at first listen, I can completely understand that you're like, this is just absolutely insane. It's kind of like this astrology stuff, like, right, basically.
No,
but astrology is like, okay,
yeah. Let's not go there.
But like, and even like this guy, because of course many people, as you can imagine, the reactions are like, well, this is absolutely insane. But back in March, this guy built a Telegram trading bot that basically, when there's an magnitude, when there's an earthquake that's more than magnitude 7, he automatically shorts the market.
Oh, wow.
And so on March 5th, I built an earthquake alerter to ping me 24/7. March 13th, I built a bot to auto short alts on any mag 7.0 earthquake. March 28th, today, my ceiling falls apart while my shorts execute. The gift of foresight is not to be underestimated. So this guy is like, you know, dealing with like a whole different...
been profitable doing this.
Apparently. I mean, who knows? Maybe it was just like that one time and he's just like tapping himself on the back.
How can you predict?
Well, to be honest, like here's the thing is like a
an
lot of these...
like so early.
And
like...
this is one thing for many people to keep in mind, anyone who's in the audience who's actually big into conspiracy theories and all this stuff, is that there's, and I think it was Kevin or someone else from the Coin Bureau Club, it's potentially a quote that I came up with, but it's like, there's some truth to everything, but not everything is true. In the case of something like this, like with this, when you're making a prediction that there's going to be an earthquake in this specific place, well, it happens to be like the place that has the most
earthquakes.
Yeah, the most earthquakes. So it's like to predict that there's going to be some big earthquake by the end of the year is not necessarily in it by itself like some extreme prediction. The extreme prediction is to say it's going to be this massive thing that's going to result in this massive death toll and all these things. That's where it's like, okay, buddy, like you've gone a little bit too far off the deep end there. But in all things considered, like in my personal opinion, like I'll be straight up with you guys, is that what I can see, and I'll actually maybe pull up, I'll stop sharing my screen, and I'll pull up another thing that is actually really fascinating. Gabbie, did you mention in any streams how like the French government is like going through like this crisis or anything like that, or not really?
I haven't mentioned that, but I've been watching a lot of Candace's YouTube on it.
You watch Candace?
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh, okay. You are into the conspiracies.
I would say these are not conspiracies because she's doing her
speculation,
deep
as some would say.
research. All right, there is deep research and there is proof involved in her work. Whereas we just watched at some random guy spit some things on X. Now that's a conspiracy, right?
Yeah. If my earthquake thing didn't lose the viewers and the people are Candace saying that Macron's wife is a man. Anyway, the really interesting thing, guys, and this is as a fun fact. Whether it's like, why is the U.S. government shut down right now? It's because they're debating about a new spending bill, right?
Correct,
on like what are they going to spend, and they're not able to agree. So it's like they're basically like delaying it. I think it was in Japan. Basically, the reason why there was kind of like a political crisis or political change in Japan was the same reason. They were not able to agree on like how much money they're going to spend. Same thing is happening now in France, is that like they need to basically come up with a budget for 2026, but they're like, there's this political crisis, which is like delaying it. And all the while, like you've seen like bond yields have been going up of like all these different countries.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. And the reason is that the moment that they table these spending proposals, the bond market is not going to like it. The yields will go up and then everything gets wrecked. And this, for the record, guys, this is part of why I don't buy this idea that the ISM is going to go up, because the main driver of economic growth has come from government spending.
Correct.
And if governments can't spend because the bond market is saying, hey, if you issue more debt, we're not going to buy it, then you can't have you can't have like an economic reacceleration outside of and people say, oh, it'll come from the private sector. Well, most private sector stuff is like AI spending. Anyway, we can get into that debate later. But the point being is that
AI spending is it's nuts actually.
The point being is that I truly believe at a personal level that like, so the U.S. government needs someone to buy its bonds. The French government needs someone to buy its bonds. The Japanese government needs someone to buy its bonds.
Who's going to buy all these bonds?
The only way, in my view, and this is something I mentioned in a previous video, and people actually asked me, it's like, hey, I want you to make a video about this in the future, which maybe I will, and I've already mentioned it a little bit here, but You might remember, Gabbie, that there was this conspiracy going around in the spring that the reason why Trump had these tariffs was to basically crash the market so that everyone would buy bonds. And like that was even being reported in like Al Jazeera and everything, but it didn't work, right? Like people, if that was the goal, it didn't work because like the bond yields sold off too and the yields went up and Trump dropped the tariffs. But what if
I don't know.
Now we're in a situation where basically every single government needs something like that to happen, where all these like, you know, whether it's Japanese stock market all-time highs, US stock market all-time highs, I think the CAC or whatever it's called, the French one.
I call it CAC as well. Don't worry.
The CAC stock market is also like, I mean, I think it dropped recently, but all these stock markets are basically at multi-year highs or all-time highs. Like the only way you would need some kind of like event or crisis to basically scare all the people who are these like risk assets to go into these safe assets, which are the bonds. And that's my personal opinion. Feel free to disagree in the comments. I'm sure everyone's already downvoted. The only people left are like yeah, I want to hear more about this. But in all seriousness, like this is, so there we go. We went down the rabbit hole a little bit there to see, and maybe to wrap things up, I don't know, would it be possible to do some, are there any questions or comments you can see in there, Zara?
Yeah, let's see what's everyone saying in the chat box, you guys.
If you see any questions in there or any like reactions and people saying like, oh my God, that was crazy what you read off. Good synergy. This will become a weekly live. Yeah, we would. We'll see about that one. We'll see about that one. I mean, Gabbie, would you be down sometime to do a live stream with myself and Aaron? I guess it depends on if you're like, okay, well, maybe.
As long as it's Friday.
Yeah. Oh, of course. I mean, that's the only time I have to do these live streams. Any other comments there? Which altcoins are y'all getting into this bull market?
So I've noticed that a lot of our watchers on Coin Bureau trading channels are into APT.
Into Aptos, it's probably my fault.
I think it's your fault because they say, Dan's into APT. Why are you saying, Gabbie, that APT is going to fall? And I'm like, well, it's because what I see on the charts.
Yeah, show us, please. Show us the APT charts.
APT,
I'm sure
let's go.
People will be angry if we don't show that. Yeah, give us the bearish view, and then I'll give you my bullish view, if you have a bearish view, unless you think it's like,
I mean, I think I did a video on it, actually, if I'm not wrong, like last week or something. Is that the chart I want? Probably not. This is a very clean chart. It can't be my chart. Which one did I open? Binance. So I have this. Oh yeah, that looks like more like mine. So yeah, I think I did a video on it. So they are applying for ETFs, right?
Yes.
So they're one of the coins like Link or whatever that could potentially get up there. So see, this is actually one of the weakest coins in the market. Like it's not the weakest. Like I have them in 3 categories, right?
Yes.
Coins that I don't care about. These are all that are trading to the downside. They have broken structure and we don't know when the downside is going to end. These ones I try to stay away from. And then the second one are going to be the ones that look like APT that are still quite low, but they have some potential to run. And then obviously the third category is going to be ones that are already like just very, very bullish, such as, I don't know, like Hype, if you will. What else? BNB, like all these. That have done really, really well. So you see, the way I trade actually is not that hard. So what I like to look at is the latest structure on a higher time frame, in that case, like weekly. So we can see that we've had like tops at around $20, tops at around what, $19.45 on APT, and now we're trading at like what, $5?
Yeah.
So we're still into the buy zone somehow, which is at around like $5. Anything below $5 is like you're buying very, very cheap. But once you've reached that point, the reality is that you're looking at this coin and you're realizing, okay, well, this might not run more than like $16, $17 this bull run, you know, because of the way it's trading right now. So in a normal environment, where let's say they're not looking into some crazy developments like ETF approvals, I would say, okay, 100%, this is not going to run more than like $18, $19 again, and we're just going to keep in this massive range together for some time. But yeah, with the ETFs, of course, that could change. And as you see, like on the weekly, we've had like a very strong week on APT, like in comparison to, in comparison to the rest of, well, yeah, I mean, we're still kind of in the trenches, but at least we're kind of like beating $5 right now. So that's step number 1, because all of these lines that I've drawn down here is like, please get me out of here, get me out of this jail. So yeah, now I think from here, it's going to be probably a clear path to like 7.6. The bearish scenario of this is actually very, very simple. The bearish scenario of this is we drop back to the lower end of that range.
Yeah.
Simple as that. So yeah, that's my view on APT. I've done also some, standard deviation possibilities for like higher targets on this.
Yeah, let's hear those.
I forgot.
Give us the hopium.
Honestly, like I have to go and like check the videos, to be fair. Let's see on the monthly if I'm able to pull anything while we're together. Let's have a look. I just need to view the structure a little bit. Yeah, it doesn't look that bad. All right, hold on. Let's do it on the monthly.
Meanwhile, everyone holding is like, this is the worst thing ever. And you're like,
it doesn't look that bad. Hold on. So yeah, potential extensions is the same thing, honestly. Like even with the standard deviation, like you don't get above like 17. You probably won't even get to $18 on APT. Sorry to say if anyone's like expecting $50 on APT. I don't know.
I am.
Aaron, Dan, sorry.
I am.
Aaron's missing us. He's talking about us right now.
Is he?
I just mentioned his name out of nowhere. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And
what do you think?
In that case, yeah, I'll share my Aptos screen, and I'm sure like people will already be commenting and saying like, oh, like you have to factor in the fact that the market cap grew so much and all these things and everything. Which yes, that's true. That's true.
Okay.
But I guess let's start with the shorter term. So on the shorter term, I love that for the first time since December of 2024, Aptos is back above the Bollinger Band moving average on the weekly.
Let's go.
Yeah. And it's like, it looks like it's retested that level. Maybe it'll go a little bit lower, but like basically the lowest that Aptos could go here in the short term, I'm talking like literally in the next week, to maintain this bullish structure, obviously it could go lower. But in my view, for it to stay bullish, it just needs to hold this, whatever it is, 4.65 roughly level. And so long as it does that, then that's great. And that means that the next week is probably going to be, again, Aptos has been squeezing really hard here. And we can see that it's basically the most it's ever squeezed since it launched.
Yeah.
And that makes me extremely bullish because, when squeezes get this tight, the move can be extremely explosive. And something that I point out repeatedly to people, like, and honestly, Gabbie, like statistically speaking, if we were to put it on like balance of probabilities of like what is the conservative target for Aptos, right? Like something that then somewhere between, let's say around roughly, let's say the $14 to like $18 ish.
Yeah, quite
something.
conservative.
Like that would be like because you would basically be rallying back up to the upper range. And so if you're someone who's trading or like thinking like where am I going to get in or get out or whatever, then definitely as your conservative estimate, be like, okay, it's at least going to rally up to the top of that range. And then when I say that, people are like, oh, there's not enough time if the bull market's only going to last for whatever. But the thing is that again, in early 2023,
you saw what happened.
You could see that it literally went like whatever it was
within
from $3.
3 weeks.
Yeah, from $3 to over $20 in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And those types of moves, again, they're rare in bear markets, but they're very common in like Q4 of the 4-year cycle type of stuff. So the idea that we would have a similar move from a similar level back up to somewhere to this range, I don't think is actually that crazy.
Not at all.
The crazy thing, I guess, going back to the conspiracy thing, the crazy thing is not that it's going to rally up to the key resistance level. The crazy thing would be to say that it's going to then get above that, and then once above that structure, then of course you're basically taking the measurement.
We go in price discovery.
Exactly.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
Yeah, you go into price discovery, and then you're looking at like whatever it is. I think Aaron was looking at a similar level, like 32 or 34 or something, as like the next target once it's out of there. And same like BNB, it'll just be like bull flag. But again,
I mean, it could happen.
It could happen.
It could happen 100%.
Yeah.
It's just one of the coins that I'm very, very closely looking at, right? Look, Films is asking which altcoins you're getting into this bull market. So yeah, basically, to be fair, honestly, there's so many coins this bull run, and then you're like, okay, what am I supposed to do? So that's why I made a video for you guys. If you remember last week, I think I released it about the ETF coins potential. So I rather keep my focus on that specific basket, right, of altcoins that could potentially get approved. So then you're looking at AVAX, you're looking at APT. I hate to say it, but you're looking at Link as well, right? Hey. You're looking at Sol, like Say. What am I missing? Quite a bunch.
Oh, Say is great. I love Say.
Say is great. Yeah, huge potential.
What else? Yeah, like again, like you're saying, Gabbie, I think very good point. Like these ETF cryptos. The reason why I'm like, and I even have a whole video also dedicated to like why I'm so bullish on Aptos. It's very simple, guys. It was originally created by Facebook. People forget that. And then basically Facebook had
my
this
grandma is on Facebook, by the way. So
she's on Facebook or she works for Facebook?
On Facebook.
Okay,
that's enough.
That's enough. It's as close. Okay. That's hilarious. The two. Basically, like, so Facebook had this cryptocurrency called Libra, and then it split into two, and then you had Sui and Aptos.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is that Sui is more like quote unquote offshore, like you could say quote unquote whatever, more aligned with Chinese interests or whatever you want to call it. Whereas Aptos is more like onshore, working with, like, they have investment from PayPal. They're now working with the Trump's World Liberty Financial is going to be launching this USD1 stablecoin. And if people forget, it's like recently Meta put out a headline that they're looking into issuing a stablecoin. And when you realize that Libra literally began as a stablecoin cryptocurrency for Facebook, like, what would make more sense for Facebook to do? Would they build their own blockchain completely from scratch? Or would they go, hey, Aptos, you're basically built on exactly our same technology that we had a few years ago.
Easy.
We're going to partner with you, and we're going to launch our stablecoin with you. And then it just goes like, and
I
that's
guess
what causes
it makes
that 3 week
sense,
move,
but we'll never know.
Of course, and exactly. That's like, and people would say like that's speculation. It's not very likely and whatever. But just when you
logically, it will make sense, right? Yeah.
It's like, why would they? It's like literally like, why would they? If the team that used to work on that thing, and even if people know how Aptos is designed to be more similar to what Libra originally was. So in the back end, presumably Facebook's infrastructure for digital currency stuff is already made for Aptos. So are they going to recreate the whole thing from scratch and hope that it works? Or are they just going to be like, yo, Aptos, like, can we just use you on this and just plug you in because we already have the outlets, like literally from whatever it is, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. Anyway, again, speculation and like, who knows?
Yeah, but it does make sense though. Yeah. So to answer your questions, this is what I'm looking at. And do you have any specifics beside APT?
I like all the ones that you mentioned. Like my 5 biggest holdings are like Sui, Solana, Aptos, and I like Helium a lot as well.
Oh, Helium. Yeah.
Helium. I have some Say, of course. And
do you like have coins that you forget about? Because I have a lot of coins that I forget that I'm holding.
I know them. I know them all. I have 100 and I love them all, which is hilarious. But anyways, I guess we'll just do one to wrap things up. If you can find one more question for there, and then or maybe a comment or something, and then we'll wrap up the stream. It's been an hour, and Gabbie and Dan are a great team. Oh, that's a nice one. Okay,
isn't
there
that
you go.
Cute? Yeah.
All right. Well, GG on 100K subs. BTC to the moon is all I hear. Hey, that's there's a tip. Great.
We got €5? No way.
100K subs. Congrats. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thank you all. If you made it this far, thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed
You guys are the best. Don't forget to watch my live streams. I'm actually live on Coin Bureau Trading channel every Tuesday and Thursday, and I give you guys the setups live every Tuesday and Thursday at whatever UTC, I don't know.
Sometimes
during the day.
Oh, no, I don't know what UTC
just before
time,
New York Open. Okay, everyone should know when New York opens.
And you guys can find Gabbie's socials in the description as well, like her YouTube channel and everything.
Yeah.
And of course there are some, not that you should be trading on earthquakes or anything. but you can check out we have some awesome exchange deals and everything in the comments as well. Probably should have mentioned that earlier in the stream, but it's my first time organizing a stream, so I hope the management will cut me some slack.
what I say usually on on my live streams is that Coin Bureau Trading are getting the best deals, so you guys always make sure to check in the description box of this video to find the best deals that you're gonna get out of the whole YouTube, right, on Coin Bureau Trading, whether it's I don't know, KYC, non-KYC, whatever you guys need.
We got everything you need. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching.